helicopter that takes up from police headquarters, all right, and hit this drone with some kind of a beam. The drone went down.
In other words, a radio control.
A radio control. They interfered with the communication, and this guy couldn't control the plane, and the plane went right down. So they were tipped off. Somebody tipped them off and intercepted it. So Ford, he was not delusional. I mean, he threatened, and people were scared, and, you know, maybe he was getting too close to some evidence, and they were, you know, they just had to cover this thing up, and I really do believe that, yeah.
We also spoke on the phone with LIUFON investigator Brian Levins.
I did, as a matter of fact, and we did see some stuff. You know, as I said, I joined the organization in November of '92. We started doing the investigations in the beginning of the year of '93 for 6 months. I was there just about every Sunday with the rest of the group, and we went on many adventures in Southaven Park, on the River Road side, Girard Road side, in the park, stayed there all day some days looking for evidence, you know, and we found a few things. John and I actually were accosted and harassed by the Suffolk County Police. I was with them the day the police came and told us to get out of the area, you know, and I was interviewing a woman on Girard Road, and John was in the car. I came into the car. He says, take a picture of the patrolling car with the license plate. Then he talked to the police officer, and then we finally did leave. But you know, John said, "You had no right to tell us to leave. We got permission to do this." You know. But anyway, in any event, and there was a very interesting day because the woman said that her son had been in the Southaven Park that Wednesday night, and he actually saw a UFO in the park. But we never got to talk to the son because we had to get out of there, you know. But that was one of those vexing parts of the investigation, you know. The person who allegedly saw the UFO that crashed into Southaven Park, and he's a first-hand witness at Southaven. So subsequently, he is no longer available for comment. And he doesn't want to be on any TV shows, doesn't want to be involved with the investigation. And the only other primary witness, the same thing happened. Saw the UFO go into the Southaven Park. He doesn't come forward, and apparently had a disagreement with Ford. He's out of the picture. So all we're left with is second-hand witnesses to an event. Something happened. It's an event. What happened? We don't know, and I don't think we'll ever know. Here's the thing: whether it's fake or not, it's I think is immaterial, because we had another copy of that film, which was never shown in public, that showed it from a different view, that actually showed the road with a double yellow line and a blinking amber light down the road. And this is the film that my friend and I were questioning. How could this be Brookhaven National Laboratory? Because there is no road like that in Brookhaven, according to my friend, who's been all over the place, you see. So that's what we were questioning him, because he never showed that film in public, and yet he's saying, based on the other film, that this was Brookhaven National Laboratories where this was taking place, you see. So that was a big question mark as to, well, if these films are real, where are they being shot, and how can we prove it? Rather than simply taking the word of a man like Joe Sapato, who was the person who was the deep throat that was feeding John all of this information, because he was some kind of a subcontractor that just happened to get a hold of this information, you know. It all sounded too Hollywoodish to me. First of all, you have to understand some of the dynamics of what Ford was doing. He was investigating, and part of the investigation was the local dump. They called it Fort Trashmore, Mount Trashmore, you know, somewhere around Bellport area there, you know. Now, it's my understanding, and I don't know this man, and I know subsequently he did get charged, and I think he's even went to jail for being a criminal, John Powell's. John Powell's apparently was doing something that had to do with illegal dumping, right? And because John Ford was politically oriented, Powell's got the feeling that John Ford may have found out part of what John Powers was into, which had to do with illegal dumping, and he was probably getting money on the side because of that. And he was definitely afraid that Ford might have had something on him. So I get the feeling that Powers, using the powers that be, would try to get Ford out of the picture somehow. Right? Now, after I had left the organization, two people who had criminal records tried to join LIUFON, and John Ford's assistant, Steve Iverone, said, you know, these guys have criminal records because they did a criminal check on them. And he advised Ford not to bring these two guys in. And I forget their names, but John Ford did not listen to Steve Iverone, brought them in, and I get the feeling that one of these two guys helped to instigate some of the things that John Ford may have said, you see, and framed him. I think he was framed, and it was a bogus situation, believe me, because, you know, when you talk about assassinations, you don't talk about using toothpaste that may take effect after 20 years. I mean, come on. That's the most ridiculous thing I ever heard of.
We figured what better way to get information than from the horse's mouth itself. We got this phone call through to the Mid-Hudson Forensic Psychiatric Center and spoke to John Ford.
I'm in good health, good spirits, and I intend, once I get out of here, that we start the organization. You know, they think I'm crazy because I believe in UFOs. That's the main reason they sent me up here. When we disclosed the Southaven Park incident to the public, I was informed by a contact I have in the intelligence community because the Suffolk County government had a lot of problems. They had to do a lot of covering up. What we had come down inside Southaven Park was an escape pod from the main ship. And wreckage from the main ship fell all over the place. But a good chunk of it fell behind police headquarters and also impacted inside Brookhaven National Laboratories. Well, we found a couple of pieces of it. Several different types of materials. We found one piece that was made out of pure iron with no trace elements. Another piece was made out of highly polished platinum with traces of silver and nickel in it. It's harmless. It was harmless. It was radium. Calibrate my Geiger counters. We had just bought us 3 or 4 new Geiger counters for the organization, and they needed to be recalibrated, rather. Now, I don't know how we could have gotten it inside the toothpaste, but it was about the size of a quarter, very small. Gave off high radiation readings, but it was totally harmless. It was a radium plug that was used for testing purposes on aircraft frames. What has happened to me only proves one thing, that we are an effective organization. We've heard to cover up, and this was done to destroy the organization and destroy me.
Do you think a UFO really did crash in Southaven Park? Do you think John Ford